The grand hall of the Xylarian citadel pulsed with a cold, iridescent light that seemed alive. Crystal spires rose from the floor like frozen rivers, twisting toward the ceiling in impossible angles. Every inch of the chamber shimmered with alien elegance, yet today the splendor felt hollow. For Queen Xylaria, matriarch of the Valerian Dominion, despair had infiltrated the core of her being. Her elongated, opalescent eyes, normally glinting with unyielding command, were dulled by a sorrow that no conquest or alliance could banish. "No one wants my daughter." Xylaria's voice, amplified by her natural psionic resonance, echoed across the hall. Her declaration reverberated off the walls, causing the attending dignitaries, ambassadors, and warriors to shift uncomfortably. A silence, thick and suffocating, fell over the chamber. Xylara, her daughter and the princess of the Valerian Dominion, stood at her mother's side. Her violet-hued skin glimmered under the hall's radiant lights, and her multi-limbed form projected a mix of alien grace and restrained power. She looked every bit the heir to a galaxy-spanning empire, yet even she seemed unsure, her mandibles twitching nervously. Over the centuries, countless civilizations had sought an audience with the Valerians, but today, even the most daring suitors avoided her gaze. The court waited, holding its collective breath. No one spoke. All eyes were on the human ambassador, who had recently arrived from the far edge of the Andarian sector. Me. My name was Caden Riel, and I had been sent on a diplomatic mission to the Valerian Dominion, unprepared for the spectacle that would now define my presence. I cleared my throat, acutely aware of the weight of the moment. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional clinking of ceremonial armor and the faint hum of levitating crystal chandeliers. My pulse raced, not from fear, though that was certainly present, but from a knowledge that what I was about to do could either cement my fate or shatter it entirely. "I will," I said, my voice steady despite the storm of uncertainty inside me. "I will stand with your daughter." A ripple passed through the hall. The Valerian courtiers stiffened, their mandibles clicking in disbelief. Even Queen Xylaria froze, her eyes narrowing, trying to measure my audacity. No human had ever spoken like this in the royal citadel, let alone offered themselves for something as delicate and politically dangerous as her daughter's hand. Xylara's compound eyes widened. For the first time, she looked directly at me. There was surprise, yes, but also a flicker of something else. Hope. "You are certain?" Xylaria asked, her voice quivering as she descended from her throne. Her limbs, elegant and multifaceted, carried her closer to me. "Do you understand what this means? To be with a Valerian princess is to pledge not just yourself, but your world. Alliances, wars, even death." "I understand," I replied without hesitation, "and I am willing." For a long moment, the queen studied me. Her psychic presence pressed against my mind like a tide, probing for lies, hesitation, weakness. But she found none. Finally, she spoke, her tone a mixture of awe and reluctant acceptance. "Very well. Then perhaps there is a chance, after all." The test of the Valerians. In the days that followed, I learned that pledging oneself to a Valerian princess was no simple matter of ceremony. The Valerian Dominion, ancient and formidable, demanded trials to gauge worthiness. These were not mere tests of combat or diplomacy. They were designed to probe the very essence of being: courage, empathy, intelligence, and resilience. The first trial took place in the Gardens of Whispering Light, a vast expanse of luminescent flora that reacted to emotional states. Each plant, each shimmering tendril, sensed truth and intent. I had to navigate a path lined with the sentient flora, all while maintaining calm and purpose. If fear, deceit, or hesitation surfaced, the plants would close around me, releasing toxins that could render a mortal unconscious, or worse. As I moved forward, my mind raced. Every fiber of my being was aware that failure would not only cost me my life, but would shame Zalera in the eyes of the Dominion. I focused on her, on the trust she had implicitly shown by meeting my gaze during the Queen's despair. Slowly, the luminescent vines parted, sensing no malice in my intentions. By the end of the garden, I was trembling, my chest heaving with relief. Zalera, who had observed silently from a high balcony, nodded in approval. "The first test is seldom passed," she whispered, her voice a melodic hum. "Few have the inner balance to walk these gardens without faltering." The second trial was one of intellect and strategy. The Council of Elders presented me with a holographic war simulation, centuries in the making. I had to demonstrate that I could navigate political intricacies, anticipate enemy maneuvers, and protect the lives of countless beings. Hours passed as I strategized, debated, and occasionally faltered. Yet with each correction, I proved that I was capable not just of survival, but of leadership. By the end, the council murmured among themselves, impressed. "A human," one elder hissed, "yet remarkably competent." The shadows of betrayal. Just as I began to feel a fragile sense of hope, the Dominion's political landscape revealed its darker currents. Not all welcomed a human in the circle of the royal family. Factions within the court, jealous and fearful, plotted behind my back. Whispered rumors suggested that some wanted Zalera to remain unallied, their ambitions stifled only by the Queen's fading hope. One night, as Zalera and I walked the moonlit terraces of the Citadel, an ambush struck. Cloaked assassins, equipped with plasma daggers and psychic inhibitors, lunged from the shadows. I barely had time to react. My training from Earth's special operations served me well, but this was an entirely alien battleground. Zalera's multi-limbed agility saved us both from the first wave, but I knew we could not fight them all. "Trust me," I shouted, grabbing her hand. "We run together." We leaped across the terraces, dodging plasma beams and psychic blasts. Every instinct screamed that failure was inevitable, yet somehow we survived. By the time the royal guards arrived, the attackers were either incapacitated or had vanished into teleportation rifts. Zalera clung to me, her chest heaving. You saved me," she whispered. "And I will continue to," I replied. "No one will harm you while I stand here." This act, witnessed by Zalera's inner circle, cemented my place. The Queen's despair seemed to waver. Perhaps now, hope had returned. Weeks later, the Citadel erupted in celebration. The air shimmered with bioluminescent banners. Alien orchestras played harmonics that made the very walls vibrate, and delegates from hundreds of worlds gathered to witness an unprecedented event. A human formally accepted into the royal house of the Valerians. Queen Xyleria stood beside her daughter. Her eyes, once filled with despair, now glimmered with cautious pride. "Today," she declared, her voice resonating through the hall, "we celebrate not just union, but courage, honor, and the breaking of barriers that have endured for millennia." Let this day mark a new era for the Dominion. I stepped forward, taking Zalera's hands. Her skin was cool against mine, the multiple textures of her form both alien and oddly comforting. I pledge myself to you, I said, my voice firm, not because of duty or fear, but because I choose you. Zalera's eyes softened, and for the first time, she smiled fully. The audience, a mix of alien species and interstellar dignitaries, erupted in cheers, clicks, and resonant tones. A new chapter had begun, an unexpected revelation. Even in moments of triumph, the Valerian Dominion had secrets. During the post-ceremony gala, an elder approached me in private. Her voice was quiet, but her message carried immense weight. You have been accepted, yes, she said, her gaze piercing. But there is a shadow that follows Zalera, an ancient prophecy. She is bound to face a trial beyond any you have endured. Her fate, intertwined with yours, could shape the destiny of entire star systems. I felt a chill. What kind of trial? The kind that tests more than courage or strategy. It tests the very bond between two beings, across species, across worlds. I swallowed, realizing that our journey had only just begun. Acceptance into the royal family was not the end. It was merely the first step towards something far greater and far more perilous. The first challenge. Days turned into weeks, and the prophecy's shadow became more tangible. A mysterious rift appeared near the Valerian border, spewing chaotic energy that threatened neighboring star systems. The Queen called upon all capable warriors, strategists, and diplomats. Zalera and I volunteered to investigate. Traveling in a ship powered by Valerian quantum drives, we crossed a void where stars seemed to flicker in and out of existence. The rift was larger than any formation I had ever seen, its edges glowing with raw, unstable energy. This is it, Zalera said, her voice calm but tense. The test begins here. Inside the rift, reality itself seemed malleable. Time skipped, gravity twisted, and visions of possible futures flashed before our eyes. Together, we navigated the anomalies, relying on trust and instinct. When we reached the rift's core, an entity emerged, a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting, its presence both terrifying and awe-inspiring. You dare enter my domain, it intoned, its voice echoing directly inside our minds. We do not seek dominion, I replied, feeling Zalera's presence beside me, steadying me. We seek understanding and unity. The entity paused, studying us. Then prove it. One wrong move, one falter in trust, and you'll be erased from existence. Through coordinated effort, psychic connection, and unwavering resolve, Zalera and I managed to stabilize the rift, redirecting its energy harmlessly into the void. Exhausted but triumphant, we emerged into normal space, forever changed by what we had survived. A new era begins. Returning to the Citadel, we were hailed not only as partners, but as heroes who had prevented a catastrophe that could have annihilated countless worlds. Queen Xyleria's eyes shimmered with pride. Perhaps, she said softly, no one truly wanted my daughter until now. And now, the galaxy knows that she is not alone. Zalera's hand found mine, and in that touch, I understood that this was not just an alliance of necessity. It was something deeper, something enduring. From the grand balcony, overlooking the Valerian capital and the countless stars beyond, I realized that stepping forward that day, when all eyes had turned to me, had changed everything. not just for me or for Zalera, but for an entire civilization. The galaxy, vast and unpredictable, suddenly felt a little smaller, and yet infinitely more alive.